Hello, team, and welcome to part 2 of my review of What's Wrong with Reason 9. Like I said in part 1 and in my previous review, they get a lot of things right in Reason 9, but there are some big issues that still need to be solved. So, without further ado, I'm going to jump in where we left off, which was talking about the mixer channels and the bus channels. But before we do that, I just want to remind you to like and subscribe if you haven't already. It really helps me out, and it's just nice and motivating. So the next big issue I have is that you can't mute or solo all effects. It would be great if there was a button right there that just let you mute and solo the sends, because sometimes it's really helpful to be able to hear them. You can do it individually, obviously, but sometimes it's nice to just be able to kill them all at once. I think it couldn't be that big of a deal. It would be great also to be able to use the overall bus compressor on individual buses, maybe on individual channels. It's a wonderful compressor. It seems like they've already finished modeling it. I don't know why it's not available throughout the Reason sort of environment. It seems like that would be a really easy free rack extension that Propellerhead could offer to the fans. I know they're really good about doing that, so I'm hoping that they will at some point. This is something I've said before. I'm going to say it again. We really, really desperately need pre-shaped automation curves. Fade-ins, fade-outs, whether it's a fast fade or a slow fade. It's just tiresome to be drawing in these lines. You never want a linear fade. Or almost never. It would be great if there's just a few to select from up there. You draw it in, from point A to point B, and the software fills in the rest. Most other DAWs I know can do this, whether it's a slower fade in or a faster fade in. And it's 2016. It seems like it's really something that should be available. So this next one is actually not I don't really know how well this would work, but it might be nice to be able to have more options with the cable colors. I know that the general cables are green when they're coming out of the master section and red within the sort of from channel to channel. CVs are kind of yellow, but it might be nice to be able to have some custom colors as well. Sometimes it gets really confusing back there, and it would be nice to have the option of choosing colors. It might also be nice to have a little more flexibility when you're using the right-click menu to choose effects, utilities, instruments. Right now, they're organized by company, and frankly, I don't find that to be intuitive or useful at all. I don't necessarily know who makes most products, and I'm certainly not interested in learning. I have to learn just because I have to use it, but I would much rather see them organized by, for example, function, compressors altogether, and also the favorites list. It would be great to choose which effects, which instruments go onto your favorites list. Sometimes just because they're the most used overall doesn't mean that they're the ones that you'd be using most in a particular project. You might want to be using 5 main favorite plugins in a hip-hop track differently than you'd be using, the 5 main instruments in a rock recording. And so it'd be nice to be able to change those out. That would just make things a little bit faster. Also, it would be great if you could add stars to your favorite instruments and presets, or some other way of marking. I know you can add it to a favorites folder, but sometimes you're just browsing within the folders themselves, and it would be great if some would just jump out at you within those long lists because you've used them before and you've starred them, so that you can easily sort of start from your best jumping off point. So up till now, these have all really been suggestions, but this next one here is actually, as far as I'm concerned, a bug, and this has to do with buses. So if you send a bus to sort of a bus along with other channels, like this I'm doing right here, the bus stops being a bus and converts to a regular channel, and you lose the ability to ever have it be a bus again. So you'll see it's got the red knob. Now the red knob goes away, and you can't convert it into a bus from here, which can be a real pain in the butt if you accidentally select a big group and it includes the sub bus, especially if you put a lot of EQ and insert effects on. You basically have to start all over and create a new bus all over again. So it would be nice to be able to convert any former bus into a bus again. You can see there it's disappeared. Also, there would be great if there was a mono monitoring button. There's ways around it. There's plenty of plugins that let you do it, but it would be nice to have it just sort of on the main mixer. So thanks a lot. I hope this was helpful.